In today's video, I am going to cover some of the basics of Kotlin that you should know as an Android developer. Hello and welcome to Learn with Tam. I'm Tariq Ali Mirza and my goal is to make you a kick-ass Android developer. If you are new here, I suggest that you watch this series from the beginning to get the most out of it. Up until now, you have created and debugged a basic Android application following the steps that I outlined for you. Although it was fun, you cannot become an Android developer without understanding the programming language that you are working with. With that in mind, I am going to dedicate the next few videos of this series to the Kotlin programming language. Just a quick note, whatever I am going to teach in this part of the series will work on every IDE there is that supports Kotlin. So, if you are using something like IntelliJ IDEA or Visual Studio Code, you can still follow along with these lectures. I'll be using Android Studio, but that is only because I already have it installed on my system and I don't want to waste your time installing another IDE. That being said, let's jump right into our system and get started. Open Android Studio. Now click on Create New Project. Select No Activity. We are selecting No Activity because we are not going to make an Android application in this project. Now click on Next. Name your project and click on Finish. Once your project loads, click on the drop-down next to App. Now click on the drop-down icon next to Java. Now right-click on the package name and select New and then select Kotlin file class. Now give your file a name and press enter. Let us first understand the anatomy of a Kotlin program. Every Kotlin program must have an entry point function. It is the first function that is called whenever the program is executed. Everything you wish to do within your program must be done within the entry point function. Let me show you what it looks like. In Kotlin, we declare functions with the keyword fun and main is the name of the entry point function. Whatever we want to do in this Kotlin program must be done within the entry point function. So, let me show you how to print something to the console window. I'll use the Kotlin function print and pass it the text hello and then I'll click on run. Our small little program has now printed hello in the console window. So, to recap, all Kotlin programs must have an entry point function and whatever you wish to do within your program must be done within the entry point function. While creating apps that solve real-world problems, we need a way to store data or information. To achieve this, we make the use of variables. In case of our ClickerCounter app, we used only one variable to keep a track of our count, and we initialize that variable to 0. When our ClickerCounter app is first started on the Android virtual device, the Android virtual device creates a slot in the memory to store the count and labels it count. And since our initial count is set to 0, the value stored in that memory location is also 0. Later on in the program, as soon as somebody clicks on the click me button and the value of our count updates, the value is updated in the memory itself. And whenever we try to fetch the value of our count, it checks the memory location and gives us the latest value stored in that memory location. Now that you understand what variables are, let's have a look at the different data types that you can store in your variable in Kotlin. We use integers to store whole numbers while using doubles and floats to store real numbers, the ones with decimal values. For example, if I wanted to store something like my age, I will use an integer. Let me show you how. As you can see, I have created an integer variable named age and assigned the value 32 to it. Var is the keyword that I am using to declare this variable. Age is the name of the variable. Int is the type of the variable And 32 is the value that needs to be stored in that variable. If I wish to store something like my weight, I will have to use float because my weight may or may not be a whole number. Let me show you how. I have declared a variable named weight of type float and added the value 65.5 to it. The extra f is necessary for Kotlin to understand that you wish to store 65.5 as a float and not as a double. If you don't write that extra f, Kotlin will start complaining. Let me show you. As you can see, the IDE is complaining that the floating point literal does not conform to the expected type float, and it is asking me to change to 65.5f, and that is exactly what I will do. If you wish to store something that requires more precision, you can use double. So I will store my savings account balance in a double. At this point, I would like you to remember that a float can store up to 6 to 7 decimal places, while a double can store up to 15 to 16 decimal places. So, you should never try saving such a number in a float. When in doubt, use double. Now, let's take a look at the data types that can be used to store text. Chars are used to store a single character, like a single letter of the English alphabet, while strings are used to store words, sentence, or sentences within it. Let's see how. I will save my gender in a character variable. It is worth pointing out that the value of a character is provided within single quotes, as we have done here. Now let me store my profession in a string variable. Please note that the text value you wish to store within your string must be provided within double quotes. We also have the option of having multi-line strings. Let's see how that works. It is worth pointing out that multi-line strings are stored as is. That is, the spaces that we have provided as well as the indentations are saved within the string as part of the string. If you don't want your indentations to be part of the string, you have to write .trim indent at the end of your multi-line string. That way, your indentations will be removed. We will see how that looks when we print these things. But before we get into printing, let's take a look at Booleans as well. Booleans are data types that are used to store true and false. Let's see how they are used. In my case, since I am not a ninja, the answer to is ninja is false. But the answer to is coder is true. Now that we have declared so many variables in our program, let's see how to print them. We can use either the print or the println function to print stuff to the console. Please note that both these functions are part of the Kotlin programming language. We will learn functions in detail a bit later, but for now it is enough to understand that functions are a set of predefined instructions. In case of print, the instructions are something like take whatever is being given to you and print it to the console. In case of println, the instructions look something like take whatever is given to you, print it to the console, and then take your cursor to the next line. Let's first use the print function to print my age. As you can see, I am asking the print function to print my age. Let's run this program and see what happens. As expected, my age was printed by the function. Now let's try printing my weight as well. So I go to the next line and print my weight. Now let's run it once again. Both my age and my weight were printed, but they were printed on the same line because we are using the print function. This function prints things in order that they appear. but it does not create a new line once they are printed. Since we don't want all our details to be printed without any gaps or spaces, we will be using println function from hereafter. So let's change the print function to println function. Let's run the program once again. That looks a lot better, don't you think? Now, I will write the print functions for all the other variables and then we will check the output. I have written the statements to print all our variables in separate lines. Let's click on Run to see what the output is. As you can see, the output is printed exactly as we expected. The first thing to be printed was age, the second thing to be printed was weight, the third thing was saving, the fourth was profession, the fifth one was gender, the sixth one was address, the seventh one was is ninja, which is false, the eighth one was is coder, which is true. As you can see, everything was printed exactly the way we wanted it to be printed. At this point, you must be wondering, why are we calling the println function again and again? Isn't there a better way to print related information with a single call to the println function? Of course there is. It is called string interpolation, but that will be covered in the next lecture. That is all for today's video. As always, feel free to share your valuable thoughts and feedback via the comment section. If you liked the video, smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to receive timely updates of all future uploads. I'll see you in the next one.